Hi, John. My name is Aaron. You and I talked on the show floor of OC5 the other day about VR fitness and exercise.
I talked to somebody here yesterday that was very involved in basically fitness VR stuff.
First off, thank you very, very much for clearly thinking about what I said. But I have to admit that I disagree with most of your conclusions when it comes to VR and exercise.
And I chuckle whenever we have our promotional stuff where you have people, athletic people swinging around wildly and ducking and bending with VR, where that's not going to be the reality of the way people are using this product most of the time.
Among other things, I'm also the director of the VR Institute of Health and Exercise. We specialize in having students come into the lab, wear metabolic equipment, and then play different VR games so that we can assess them for exercise potential. We asked one of the world's best Beat Saber players to come into the lab and play some of the most difficult modded songs for Beat Saber.
This is not fast enough. What is his heart rate right now? Can you tell?
Heart rate? Yeah, you can use heart rate. Not on that, I got it here.
I'm gonna look at this number right here.
Yes, this is his heart. So he's definitely hit. I agree that exercise in VR is not going to be one of the most frequent uses of VR in terms of total hours spent, but I do believe that it's going to be one of the most consistent and important factors or applications for early adopters. We actually found that Jacob is his fellow's name. He uses Beat Saber as his primary form of exercise right now. His recovery rate was actually very similar to a well-conditioned athlete. You have to do a certain amount of exercise in order to progress in the game. Nobody is being successful playing Beat Saber and doing no exercise. So one of the premises you were worried about was that behavior change is difficult, which is obviously true. But with the sixth-off headsets, we're not really seeing that it's difficult to get people to play games that require some level of standing or moving around. The major successes on the platforms almost all require some level of standing or physical movement, and it's just a matter of the degree. So for the last 30 years, we've been telling people that video games and exercise are opposites of each other, right?
I do worry that in many ways it does come down to people tend towards a little bit of laziness and inaction. I mean, this is what gave us the couch potato and all of this.
Now we have a game system where almost every game promotes some degree of movement, and yet we have these biases still in place that are so strong that we're missing an entire vertical. We just don't even see it. There is almost nobody that I've been able to encounter in the various different major thought leaders across the space, including Oculus, where there's somebody's job is to help prepare the industry for the adoption of VR for the purposes of personal exercise. At best, it's a job that has been passed off to somebody else to handle while they're doing their other duties. And for what I believe will be a large and growing portion of VR consumers, they don't see this as a game system. They see this as something that's going to save their life. The VR community today might be one of the most active exercise communities in the world, and we don't even know it. Most of us are participants without even being aware of it. And I think that the Oculus Quest is going to do nothing but make this more true. And I'm super excited about that. So you mentioned that the very first days of Oculus, you had a bet.
I had bet someone else that it's going to be more than 50% of the time not in games, and I've been smug about winning that pretty decisively for a while.
So I want to make my own little bet if you're open to it. So I bet that by the end of 2020 that VR and exercise will be one of the most important verticals for consumer VR. But before you take that bet, I would love a chance to walk you through some more of the data that we're seeing at the VR Health Institute and give you a little bit more of the world view of the future as I see it. Also, the bet is pizza.